Hello everyone and welcome back to Kung Fu Piano. In this video we are going to talk about harmony over a tune called Stella by Starlight. But this time, instead of creating structures and examples that are simple for training purposes, I decided to analyze what is going on when I'm just playing normally, and honestly I had several interesting discoveries. So in the first two measures, as you see, I'm using quite normal E minor 7th or E minor 9th if you count the melody. Well, yes, I changed it from E minor half diminished to E minor 9th, so it would have more contrast with the next chord. And the next chord is very interesting. I think in this small space I tried to play 7th and 3rd, no root since I have the bass, and the E flat minor triad, which is a relative minor for G flat major. If you have watched my previous videos, you might have the impression that I use only major triads, but that's not true. In my previous videos I was creating structures that would be simple for understanding and would help you to develop a vision of triads. But in real playing there are a lot of colors that become available once you are familiar with the simpler version of those structures. I will have a separate video about minor triads and very interesting connections between all the existing triads. Back to Stella. Similar case here. Normal C minor and then this B minor squeezed in with 7th and 3rd. Our tritone, which is the normal attribute of any dominant 7th chord. In the next couple of measures, we have a normal F minor and this E minor triad over B flat 7. I guess I really like those minor triads. The next four measures are pretty normal, except I use E minor 9 instead of E minor half diminished again. Just like in the first measure, I replaced E minor half diminished with E minor 9, so it has more contrast with the next chord. And then here comes this D minor. I'm creating the tension with this diminished chord to resolve it to D minor 6. It only makes sense if you resolve it. The next measure is very interesting. To be honest with you, it took me a while to figure out what was I thinking when I played this chord. At first I thought it was once again the case of a diminished chord with a resolution. Just like in the previous case, this chord sounds good only because of the resolution that follows. A very specific case considering that it is only 4 voices. So now I actually think it is a C sharp minor over E flat 7, but I kept this voice from the previous B flat minor to create a dissonance with the melody. And again, it only sounds good because it resolves into the following F major. If you would like to know where this C sharp minor came from, watch my video Jazz Harmony Part 3. Then again, pretty normal measure, E minor 9 instead of E minor half diminished. And then we come to this. Did it sound like 4 different triads to you? Let's take a closer look. I'm changing a melody a little bit using double thirds, and it brings me to this G and B, technically a 9th, but it could be seen as the E minor triad. I didn't really play this voice, but that seems to be the logic. Then we got F minor, F major, and A flat major. And right after that comes another interesting chord. It looks like it's an E major over G7, which is quite dissonant with the melody, and to make it softer I'm using this augmented chord. But I'm going back to the dissonant E major over G7 chord right before I get to another dissonant structure. Technically it's two diminished chords together, but I'd rather look at it as B minor over C diminished, because while I'm playing without thinking about it, my hands are grabbing familiar shapes, which are the triads. And just like in the previous case, I'm releasing the tension with a resolution that follows. Here I am reharming the melody with a B flat and A flat triads over A flat 7. Here's a B flat major over A flat 7. And here's an A flat major triad that sounds like a resolution. In the following portion of the chart, I'm using the changes that I learned from a great piano player, Dave Shepard. Right after playing B flat major, I'm playing G minor, which enables me to do this nice descending chromatic move to E minor. And here, instead of 3-6-2-5 that's in the chart, I'm using a 2-5 progression that moves down chromatically. So that's what's going on when I'm just playing music. My hands are grabbing familiar shapes to create colors while I'm playing and not thinking about it. And of course, there are no calculations involved. To keep this video reasonably short, I'm not going to analyze my solo, but I'm sure you will be able to hear and see how I am using a diatonic scale and combining it with contouring the triads to create my phrases. If you would like to hear a demonstration of these concepts in a real-life situation, check out this YouTube video that I recorded with my good friend and great musician Alex Nekrasov. I hope you find this video helpful and thank you for watching.